Are we on the brink of a new chapter in the Middle East? In this video, we dive into the unfolding situation where Israel's potential military victory over Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran could pave the way for peace talks, possibly even pushing for the creation of a Palestinian state. But will military dominance truly lead to lasting peace, or are the obstacles far more complex? Stick around as we explore what this means for Israel, the US, and the future of the region, because the answers are anything but simple. Well, it's certainly an interesting possibility. Peace negotiations often hinge on more than just military success, so it's understandable that the outcome remains unclear. It's a complex issue with so many factors in play. On October 7, 2023, Hamas initiated a devastating assault on Israel, resulting in the deaths of 1,200 individuals. In response, Israel launched a sustained military campaign that has killed over 40,000 Palestinians. Although Hamas continues to operate, its military capacity has been severely diminished. Similarly, Israeli airstrikes have dealt substantial damage to Hezbollah's weapons in Lebanon. Israel's military achievements may have reinstated its deterrence to a certain extent, but the long-term consequences are still uncertain. While Israel has experienced success on the battlefield, many analysts assert that a political solution is ultimately necessary to achieve peace, rather than relying solely on military might. It's tragic how conflict escalates, leading to such a high toll on both sides. Military victories often come at great human cost, and while deterrence might be temporarily restored, it doesn't necessarily solve the underlying issues. Mohammed Hafez, a scholar in Middle Eastern politics, points out that while Israel may frequently win militarily, groups like Hamas and Hezbollah tend to come back stronger in the future. He, along with others, stresses that a political resolution is crucial to ending the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The article also emphasizes that internal politics within both Israel and the US will play a key role in determining the likelihood of peace efforts. Mara Rudman, a former US Middle East peace envoy, suggests that the next US president will face both opportunities and challenges similar to those faced by previous administrations in attempting to bring about peace. That sounds like a familiar cycle: military victories followed by the resurgence of groups. It really underlines how political solutions are essential if lasting peace is to be achieved. It also shows how much leadership matters in shaping outcomes. The US role in the Middle East could shift depending on the results of the 2024 election. Former President Donald Trump has not outlined a clear post-war strategy, but previously facilitated the Abraham Accords, which normalized relations between Israel and two Gulf states. His policies strengthened ties with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has historically opposed the establishment of a Palestinian state. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris supports a two-state solution and a plan for Gaza that would allow Palestinians to live with dignity and security. Some analysts argue that while Harris might pursue a broader peace plan, any US president will encounter significant resistance from Netanyahu's government, which remains staunchly against a Palestinian state. It seems like the US elections could significantly influence the direction of peace efforts. Trump's close ties with Netanyahu contrast with Harris's support for a two-state solution. But both paths have their challenges, especially considering Netanyahu's strong opposition. There are numerous challenges to achieving diplomatic progress. Israeli society remains divided on post-war security, with some advocating for Israel to maintain control over Gaza, while others are unsure. Netanyahu, supported by a right-wing government, faces minimal domestic political pressure to change his stance on the two-state solution. Public sentiment in Israel shows waning support for long-term peace strategies, and Palestinians also express little faith in the US-backed Palestinian Authority, which is seen as corrupt and incapable of effective governance. This level of division within Israeli society, along with the Palestinians' lack of trust in their own leadership, definitely complicates any potential path toward peace. When internal consensus is lacking, it's difficult to see how external negotiations can gain traction. Regional dynamics further complicate the situation. Iran's continued backing of Hezbollah and other proxy groups indicates it is unlikely to abandon its opposition to Israel, no matter the outcome of the conflict. Daniel Byman, a professor at Georgetown University, argues that even a clear Israeli victory would not fundamentally alter the region's power dynamics. Israel was already the region's dominant power before the war, and Iran's dependence on militant proxies as a means of confronting Israel is unlikely to change. It's difficult to imagine Iran changing its position after the war, especially given its long-standing support for groups like Hezbollah. Regional geopolitics seem like another significant hurdle that peace efforts would need to overcome. Even if Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu steps down after the war, John McLaughlin, a former CIA official, warns that expecting new diplomatic opportunities in the Middle East is always risky. He suggests that meaningful peace talks would require a dramatic shift in leadership on both the Israeli and Palestinian sides, and current trends suggest it's unlikely that Israel would seek a diplomatic solution following a military victory. That's a sobering thought. Even if leadership changes, it sounds like the political environment isn't quite conducive to diplomacy. It's clear that leadership on both sides would need to shift for meaningful peace talks to happen. In conclusion, while a decisive Israeli victory could give the next U.S. president a chance to push for peace talks, deep-rooted political challenges in Israel, the Palestinian territories, and across the Middle East make it doubtful that such a victory would naturally lead to a lasting solution. Military dominance alone cannot address the intricate political and societal problems at the core of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and the prospect of long-term peace remains distant and uncertain. It's an unfortunate reality that military strength alone can't solve such deeply embedded issues. The political, social, and regional complexities seem to create significant barriers to any lasting peace solution.